Welcome to Intuitive Astrology with Molly McCord. Thank you so much for joining me today as we're going to discuss the energies of both Mercury and Venus in retrograde through the second half of January 2022. These retrograde periods are overlapping, and that is very intentional and energies that we can work with in a very conscious manner. So we'll be discussing what's coming up during these last 2 weeks in January, as well as how these transitions are working with you and how you can make the most of them. I have done separate podcast episodes for you on each of these retrograde energies. So you can listen to what is happening more specifically with Mercury retrograde, as well as the energies of Venus retrograde in those separate podcast episodes. But this episode is going to be about how they are both retrograde at the same time and how that is showing up to support these new timelines that we're on. Because one of the strong messages I've been receiving around this particular retrograde phase is that what we're integrating directly relates to the previous eclipses we had in late November and early December 2021, where we had a very strong lunar eclipse at 27 degrees of Taurus, which is a Pleiadian energy point. So a very cosmic opening into new Pleiadian energies. And then the solar eclipse on December 3rd and 4th was conjunct the Great Attractor. Now that eclipse was at 12 degrees of Sagittarius and the Great Attractor is at 14 degrees of Sagittarius. So again, another cosmic energy point. And for those of you who listen regularly to the show, you know that we talked about that a lot and what it meant in terms of the timeline changes, the things that were shifting in our own energies, how we were opening up to more of these cosmic downloads. There could be a sense that you've changed something that you can't quite put your finger on or grasp. There could be a sense too that you've been working through something in a way that is requiring you to step into the next experiences of your life. And so what I'm feeling and sensing around this Mercury retrograde that coincides with the Venus retrograde is that these are personal planets that are helping us further integrate more of these cosmic energies into our aura, our chakras, what we're really embodying in this reality. But that tends to happen at a slower pace simply because of how the physical world has more dense energies and it can take longer for some of these shifts to unfold. So with that insight, what we're really doing here is integrating more fully into these new experiences of ourselves. And the Mercury retrograde and Venus retrogrades are showing us what we no longer want in our lives, what is complete, what no longer calls to you, what you don't have energy for anymore, what no longer resonates, where you don't want to perhaps spend your time or put your energy towards anything in a particular area of your life. Mercury is retrograde in Aquarius and then re-enters Capricorn, where it journeys back to 24 degrees and will make another conjunction to Pluto. This adds in the intensity and the deep change as well as the reprogramming that we're working with on a mental basis. Then we have Venus that is retrograding in Capricorn and has also been making connections to Pluto, bringing in more intensity around what we value, what we want, understanding more of what we need to live a life that is in alignment with our truth. And both of these planets during their retrograde phases are interacting with outer planets, which signifies openings into higher consciousness, new light codes, new downloads, and new understandings of what you're really bringing in to your everyday reality. Because both Mercury and Venus are about our daily energies and how we go about living our lives. Now, because they are in Aquarius and Capricorn, it connects to the bigger picture of your life. And during this time, you could be undergoing a serious life review. There could be things coming up to your awareness that you're seeing from a higher perspective, you're learning from, you're healing from, you're understanding. This is the energy of really gaining clarity on how you've been moving through your life, the choices you've made, the actions you've taken, anything that really is showcasing more about the bigger picture of your life. And this is meant to bring you higher awareness and understandings of what does work for you, what has been satisfying, successful, what still is in alignment with your dreams, with your hopes, with what you want to experience on this planet. And at the same time, there's a much deeper reprogramming around what is no longer needed, what you have outgrown, what is too uncomfortable. And it has that sense of it's no longer connecting. And I'm actually getting the visual of energies no longer connecting to particular chakras as well as particular parts of your energy body. So this is an interesting dance here between our physical selves and our real world lives and how we are integrating these higher energies and these downloads that are requiring us to shift, change, and grow. And so all of this makes for a much bigger retrograde phase, especially during these 2 weeks here in the second half of January. Now, Mercury stationed retrograde at 10 degrees of Aquarius, and it will station direct February 3rd and 4th at 24 degrees of Capricorn. So we have a typical 3-week period of Mercury retrograde. Then we have Venus that's been in retrograde since December 18th and 19th, where she's stationed retrograde at 26 degrees of Capricorn and is journeying back to 11 degrees of Capricorn until January 29th. So the Capricorn and first 10 degrees of Aquarius in your natal chart is where this energy is the strongest. It's also important to note that during these energies moving through, they are interacting with Uranus in Taurus at 10, nearly 11 degrees of Taurus, which is also stationing direct on January 18th. And this energy is about things picking up the pace, an acceleration, breakthroughs, understandings around what you're ready to move towards next. So what I'm feeling overall is that what we're understanding is that a new life and new opportunities are opening up for us, but we're still working through and clearing out anything that is not in resonance with those parts of yourself going forward. And of course, this is going to be different for everyone. So trust what it is for you, as it can certainly be something that you're working with more internally. And that's always the case when you have retrograde planets in the first 6 houses of your astrology chart. So if you have these retrograde energies in houses 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6, those are the areas of the natal astrology chart that are about your internal world, your sense of self, how you know yourself, how you take care of yourself. It is about your personal energy. Now, if these retrogrades are happening in houses 7 through 12, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 in your natal chart, those are the areas associated with other people and the world at large. Those are external energies that you're experiencing and working with. And the retrograde planets then would signify how you're changing your energy to interact with others and with the world at large in a new and different way. So this is where it's valuable to understand where the retrograde energies are working with you, because it helps you pinpoint what you're shifting and specifically how these energies are helping you recalibrate, reintegrate, reprogram, and really step into more of what is true for you now. So it can help to understand that also Mercury and Venus travel closely to the sun at all times. They're a bit like chihuahuas on leashes that are always running around the sun, running around, going at different speeds, slowing down, then accelerating, but never moving further away from the sun than 2 astrological signs away. So that means that when the sun is in Capricorn, Venus is either 2 signs before or 2 signs after the sun. So when the sun is in Capricorn, the furthest that Venus can be away from the sun would be in Pisces or in Scorpio. And the same is true for Mercury. It's never more than 2 astrological signs away from the sun on either side. So these are the personal planets that are always closest to the sun, running around the sun, and also showing us more of the energies that we're designed to work with on a daily basis. And then just like a chihuahua on a leash that runs further away, it basically gets yanked back by these retrograde periods, or it comes back closer to the warmth and energy of the sun and becomes revitalized, is warmed up by the sun's energy and consciousness, and is closer to the sun's intentions. Now, when we have both planets retrograde at the same time, it requires a slowdown. It requires us to call our energy back into ourselves and be very intentional around where our energy is going. Now, when the planets are in Capricorn, there is even the energy of hermiting, calling it into yourself, needing more space, needing more quiet, wanting to just be, contemplate, review, and have an understanding of even what's going on within you at a much deeper level. Now, this Capricorn energy is strong into February, so that's why it's beneficial to be aware of it, because Mercury retrogrades into Capricorn, where it stays until February 14th and 15th. And then Venus is in Capricorn actually until early March. So these Capricorn energies really bring up, again, that life review, really assessing what you've experienced, what you've been through, the bigger picture of where you've been as well as where you're going. But because of the retrograde, there can be this energy of being called into a part of yourself that is no longer satisfying. There can be something coming up that doesn't seem to fit anymore. It doesn't fit you, or it doesn't fit what you want, where you're going. It can feel like a heaviness as well. There can be sometimes a burden or the energy of going very slow when the planets are in Capricorn, because this is where you're being shown something significant, where you're being shown something you're meant to know and understand about yourself. And maybe that has some discomfort with it. And this is where we have to be mindful of not becoming our own worst enemy, of not being too harsh of a critic, of not beating ourselves up, because sometimes that Capricorn energy, it really strives for something big. And when you feel like you're falling short, or you're not reaching a goal, you're not even as far along as you thought you would be, whatever that means for you, there's something here where there's only so much you're really in charge of. There's only so much you can really do. But Capricorn has this very intense responsibility. And there can be a sense of, well, if I don't do it, I don't know who will. And so then we can feel that in ourselves and feel like, wow, why didn't I try harder? Why didn't I do more? Why didn't I fill in the blank? And this is where we have to stay mindful of ourselves, of not being too much of that internal bully where you beat yourself up for something. Now, the higher energies here are showing you where you're ready to shift and change. Now, Capricorn is a cardinal sign, which is associated with the beginning of a new season of the calendar year, but also a new season of your own energy, perhaps even a new season of your life. But the retrogrades are actually requiring us to first review before those new beginnings start. So there could be a sense of what you're ready to move towards or open up to, what you want to start, or anything that you're shifting within yourself. You're feeling the energy move through you. You're even feeling that you're in a different energetic experience where you've shifted timelines. You've completed something on your journey. You've moved through a big spiritual lesson or a big karmic experience, perhaps an ongoing healing event. You've moved through something, but you're still working through it at other levels of your being, because part of this Capricorn energy wants you to also recognize how far you've come, what you have moved through, what you have achieved, but to balance it with the realistic understanding of what no longer works for you, what you can't do anymore, what you can't continue, where your energy has changed in such a way that it's supporting you in this birthing into the higher frequencies. But there's also something here that you have to take ownership for. And that would be a good word here, the ownership of something in your life, the ownership of an experience, an energy, your choices, your actions, your behaviors. Capricorn holds us to our choices because everything we do has some type of energetic fold out, energetic consequences. It is the law of cause and effect. And so we're taking a good hard look at our lives, what we've changed, what we've moved through, what we like, but also what we no longer like, what we no longer want. And perhaps that is where your energy sinks, especially during these retrogrades when there isn't always a lot moving forward, but we're kind of pulled into things that we're also trying to move away from. So there is a push and pull dynamic here because there's an overlap of energies where you can feel the new timeline, the new experiences coming in, but then you could also feel like you're stuck in the middle where you're still dealing with some parts of yourself that you no longer want to take forward. I'm also feeling that part of this energy is that we're rising in the divine feminine expressions. And that's because Capricorn is a feminine energy. It's an earth sign. It is about the mentor, the crone, the matured emotional expression. It's where we hold ourselves to certain standards. We respect our own energetic boundaries. We're aware of how energies work, and we're also in tune with how our energies interact with others and with the world at large. So there is a maturing here of emotions, of understandings, of your own power and choices. I also feel this as a maturing of divine feminine energies within all of us. And then what I'm feeling is that you can look back and have even, it feels like regrets or disappointments or even any kind of internal spinning around what has unfolded that wasn't connected to this higher expression of divine feminine energies. So more concisely, what I'm feeling around this is that we can see where we weren't behaving or making choices from a mature place or from a responsible place. And this can show up, of course, in any area of our lives, but it feels like there is an energy that is sinking in this retrograde phase, and it's meant to benefit us, but it feels, like I said, heavy as well. And it's a really interesting thing to describe because now what they're showing me is that it's similar to when the oil is being changed in a vehicle and you're draining out that old heavy oil that is no longer fresh and clean. It's no longer supporting what the engine needs. And so there's this draining out of the oil that feels like the heaviness or like the sinking energies. And it feels like what is draining out of us is our lower consciousness, our lower energies, what we've outgrown. But it's a slow process. And again, it feels kind of sloggy. And because it's so slow, it feels like it's grabbing our attention. Like there's something about this slow draining energy that we're meant to observe and learn from, but we're not meant to try to keep it or to try to do anything about it. So it's really a powerful time of detachment and observation of yourself, of the former versions of yourself that you have outgrown, that you're no longer in resonance with, and to do so from a place of objectivity and kindness, where you're not too harsh on yourself for something you said or how you behaved or what you chose. And that's part of the spinning here as well, where it can feel like you might be spinning in the past. And Capricorn is a traditional energy. And there can be that sense of, well, this is how I've always done things, or this is how it's always been. But we have shifted so much, and there's so many new energies, that there's this huge disconnect, even this disconnect between where we've been even a year ago to where we are now. So as this oil is draining out of the vehicle, there might be something that you're being asked to honor in yourself around how you've grown, around what has come to your awareness or to your consciousness now, where this also feels like being your own teacher, where you are both the student and the teacher of yourself, of your energy, of your life, because you know yourself the best and you know parts of yourself that nobody else knows. So this detached self-assessment is part of this retrograde energy, because it's showing us what's complete, what's done, what we're never going back to. But then there's something here where the universe wants us to be very intentional about it. Really see this for yourself. Really understand it. Because now what they're showing me is that when we're able to see this in ourselves, it can shift our perspective of others, where you can look at something with kinder eyes. You can have a new compassion or awareness around perhaps what others are going through or experiencing, because you yourself have been there. And that's also how you're becoming more of your own teacher and your own mentor in a sense. It's almost like becoming your own guide to who you were previously or what you've been through. Now, the other thing associated with this energy, and they're bringing my attention to oil draining out of the vehicle, is that parts of this oil can be connected to older emotions and clearing out energies at a cellular level. And that's what it looks like. It looks like there's this purging of old cellular debris, and it's part of what's leaving. And this can be emotional. This can actually bring up discomfort, because it can also have a sense of where you've been discouraged, where you're holding sadness, something, again, that you regret or that you feel like you failed at. And we know at the higher levels, this is never truly the case, but at our mental level, at our everyday human level, these are the messages we can feel or we can give ourselves. So there can be this energy draining out, and you're really feeling a disappointment, you're really feeling a discouragement, or you're feeling a sadness, or there's something that's moving through you that you can't shake quickly. Again, it's this slow process that doesn't feel great, but it has a beautiful purpose. And it's part of honoring all these versions of ourselves that we've been. And it feels like this draining out is an honoring of what you're ready to see in yourself, because it connects to where you're making some intense permanent changes in your life that you're never going back to. Now remember, these energies are leaving. So that's important to note. Even if it feels like it's slow moving, or that you're just sitting in something, like there could be a day when you just feel like you're sitting in a heaviness. You're feeling a sadness. You're feeling discouraged. You're just feeling a heaviness. I feel like that's what's draining out. And there could be something there to honor in yourself. Honor as part of the full energetic spectrum of who you are. And yeah, there's things in our lives that we can have disappointments around or regrets about. And we feel that way because it is disappointing. It just is. Or it is sad. Or there's something that we had an expectation around, or we had strong feelings around, or we really, really wanted. I mean, this is where the universe is showing you how much you've grown, and also, again, that mature management of your energy, of your emotions, of your thoughts, of all of you, so that you're not repressing it. You're not pushing it away, because the brave and courageous thing to do is to see it, is to own it, is to understand, yeah, that was disappointing. Or yeah, I regret that. Or yeah, I wasn't in my best place when I said what I said or did what I did or whatever it is for you. And so just like looking in a mirror, there's things that we're seeing in ourselves around how we've grown, shifted, and changed, but we're meant to really see it. We're not meant to do this love, light, and bliss and do a spiritual bypass over it. We're meant to fully own it, understand it, and then go into why. Why was that something that came up for me? Why was that a choice? Why? And that's this Pluto energy that both Mercury and Venus are connecting with over this time frame, because that Pluto energy pulls us into the deeper consciousness of ourselves. So there's a lot here that is about how we've been living our lives. And that's a big topic. That's a huge topic. And then it pertains to our life review and what we've done in our lives, how far we've come, what we have accomplished, what we have succeeded at, and then allowing what is expired and complete to drain out of us, but to allow it to be a beautiful teacher, to really understand the wisdom or the deeper meanings around who you were or where you have been, or those other versions of yourself that you're meant to learn from. So again, yes, there's intensity with this particular retrograde phase, and it's also a gift. It's also going to help us continue to accelerate and move into these new timelines and higher frequencies. And when we do so, we're going to be even cleaner, even clearer. The energy is going to even feel effervescent. But first, there is the energy of getting the work done. And it's the internal work, the internal understanding and guidance that we might otherwise overlook. So this particular retrograde is more intense, and it will reveal to you more about how you work with Capricorn energy specifically. Now, I understand, and yes, I know that Mercury is in Aquarius as well. And that is the connection to these new timelines. That is where we are already strongly connected to where we want to go next, what we're inspired to create, and even feeling these energies working with us to reprogram our visions. And I'm seeing visions directly related to the crown chakra and the third eye chakra. And this is where those downloads have been coming in. So while Mercury is retrograde in Aquarius, it's supporting the reprogramming of what's possible, what you can create in your life, what you can achieve. This is where you can get some out of the blue, crazy, how would this even be possible ideas. This is where the universe is working with you to help you understand more of what you can manifest and create. But first, we've got to do some reprogramming and get rid of any of those limitations, fears, or blocks that you've been unconsciously holding that can get in your way. A bit like we can be in our way and the universe is like, step aside. I don't want you interfering with this, because we're going to do some internal work to get rid of what has been holding you back. So the Capricorn energies are requiring us to be realistic, to be very clear in what we've experienced and what we've created in our lives. And then these Aquarius energies are what takes us forward, opens us up to how you can use your energy differently and in a whole new way going forward. So again, there is this overlap in timelines and energy fields right now where you could feel that you're a bit in between, but you could also feel like you're much further along than you realized, and then you have to go back 4 steps to clean up a mess. It's that kind of energy where we are further along than we might understand at times, but there's things we still have to take care of. complete, finish up. Again, allow the oil to drain out of the vehicle so that the new oil can come in and really be optimal, fresh, and clear for where we're going next. So what we're moving through is related to these eclipses, as I mentioned, in late November and early December that opened up new timelines, new potentials, even the experience of time jumps and time leaps. But then there are things in the physical world, in our everyday reality, that we also have to clear out and clean out in order to match these new frequencies and new vibrations of where we're at. It does feel like something is new at a cellular level, that new light has come in, new energies have been downloaded. We are integrating it. We are understanding that there are more energies that we're working with of a higher frequency. And it's definitely related to more of this cosmic support that's moving in. Now, we've also had the nodes change signs. So the North Node is now in Taurus, and it's going to be passing over the lunar eclipse point at 27 degrees of Taurus in February. And I feel like we're going to further open up to these integrations of especially the Pleiadian energies, but more of the galactic downloads that our planet is ready for. The shift into Taurus as the North Node and Scorpio in the South Node brings up new areas of growth, development, and where we're going next. It also brings in stability. There's a sense here of stabilizing energy within yourself, really understanding more of who you are and what your mission or purpose is on this planet and owning it. Again, going back to that keyword of ownership, there's a sense here of really feeling connected to something in yourself in a whole new way. And as I say that, I'm now seeing the heart chakra, where there are heart chakra openings. There are energies opening up around the planet that are going to further connect us to more people of similar energy, similar values. And that's a really strong Taurus keyword, is values. So I feel like we're going to be strongly reprogramming the earth, rewiring. It's a regridding, a recalibration of the energies on the planet with these cosmic downloads and galactic codes. And they're showing me two energy fields. They're showing me energies in the dirt, like literally in Gaia. And then I'm seeing this energy recoding that's just outside of the Earth's atmosphere. It's actually out beyond where all the satellites are. Oh, they're saying this relates to the Uranus and Taurus energies, where these higher frequencies right outside the Earth's atmosphere are directly penetrating the Earth's terrain. So there's some type of new connections that are now happening as the North Node is in Taurus and is strengthening what the Earth can absorb, hold, and co-create. So I hope this is a good visual to understand what I'm seeing. I always want to explain it in the best possible ways for you, but it feels like there's something coming through here that's helping the earth absorb more of these energies. And it's also energies that we're feeling. And again, it goes right to this heart chakra. And it's really beautiful green, like that bright apple green energy that feels very new. And so at a personal level, now they're directing me to the Venus retrograde. So this could be new openings in your heart, new things that you love, that you want to experience, that you want to move towards. This can certainly be new love interests, new people that you're calling in related to what you've been through, where you've understood maybe your own areas of growth in relationships and partnerships, what you came to heal in this lifetime, what you came to karmically complete, even those energies, stories, connections that you've had to move through that were really hurtful, hard, deep, difficult, all those words. All of those can be shifting now, or you could have felt it shift. This Venus retrograde is supporting us in this rewiring and reprogramming of our heart chakras. Again, what we value, what we want. But in Capricorn, Venus is also revealing the bigger viewpoint of the types of relationships that have formed you, that have created your understanding of what it means to be in a partnership, what it means to be in a relationship. Is this healthy? Does this feel good? Does this person value me? Do they see me? Is there equal giving and receiving? And this has been a really big lesson and experience around the planet. It's also why there have been so many themes coming up around the narcissist empath dynamic, so that you can see where you need to put down perhaps clearer boundaries, honor what you need, honor what is important to you, and ensure that you're calling in those who also are in that same vibration and who want those same things going forward. So this Venus retrograde is really bringing our attention to what it means to have satisfying, balanced, fulfilling relationships in all areas of our lives. This includes friendships, this includes family and parents and children, but it also includes anything that connects to your heart. And I think that this Venus in Capricorn is showing us more of where we can be more responsible with our heart, with our needs, with how we share and how we relate to others. Now, Venus retrograde in Capricorn can also highlight anything in the workplace, professional dynamics, people that you're in contact with on a regular basis, around your career or your job. It can bring up those dynamics of relationships and maybe even show you what you need to see about your own relationship patterns or habits. I also tend to think of Venus in Capricorn as fishing off the company pier, where you could meet someone at work who becomes a romantic interest or a crush or that kind of energy, right? Where you know it's not just a professional relationship. There's something more that you're feeling. So that can be a theme that comes up right now as well. And this Venus retrograde in Capricorn is again showing us how we do relationships, how we show up, and how we're perhaps ready to do something differently or to shift something within ourselves so that we can honor ourselves and have clear boundaries as needed. Of course, this can be very different for every person. This is just a general understanding of some things. So take what resonates and leave the rest. But I feel like we are deeply reprogramming what's in our hearts and what we've been through so that we can truly claim what we want and put our energy towards that, while also honoring what you've been through previously, the connections that didn't work or the karmic relationships that were really tough, really pulled you under, really intense, what you were learning and healing. Keep in mind that karmic relationships can have so many different factors involved where you want to get to that neutral point where you're no longer having any kind of emotional reaction or response. You want to be energetically neutral, and that will show you that the karma is over. When you're energetically neutral, you've cleared it. It's gone. It's done. It's no longer riling you up or getting to you. So that neutral point is where you will feel that the karma is over with someone, meaning you no longer want to interact. You don't want to respond to a text. You don't want to see them again, or you're no longer having those feelings coming up that you used to have, whether those were the highs or the lows. You're looking for that neutral point, and that shows you that the karma is complete. You're free to go. You're ready to move forward. And perhaps you've learned enough that now your heart has expanded. That's also what I'm feeling here, which is interesting because typically the Capricorn energy isn't expansive, but what I'm seeing is that the previous eclipses expanded our heart, expanded our ability to hold more light. And it's that expansion that we're feeling while these Capricorn energies are contracting. or as I explained, draining the old oil out. So there could be this really interesting review energy that you're going through around relationships, around partnerships, around things in your life that you no longer want, and you're ready to do something differently. You're ready to have new experiences based on these new energies, and that alone is what can continue to lift you up and help you understand perhaps what you're moving through at this time. So these last 2 weeks in January, the second half of January, is really going to focus on these retrograde themes and these retrograde energies. But as we move into February, there are more openings, and it's almost like there could be this energy that just rushes forward. It rushes in, it comes in quickly, and that can be something you feel. That can be a part of an experience in your life where you're waiting on an answer, you're waiting on someone to get back to you, and all of a sudden it comes in fast. Sort of like waiting for a response from a potential employer or a project or something that you want to work on. And you're like, I'm waiting. I've been waiting 4 weeks. And then all of a sudden you get a yes. And they're like, we need you to start on Wednesday. And can you do this? And can you do that? And all of a sudden the energy picks up and things move fast. So understand that there is a reason for everything we move through. Everything is always in divine order, even when we don't want to hear that, even when we roll our eyes and just say, yeah. But there's something here where you're already in a new energetic timeline that perhaps you're feeling, but there's just things to clean up. There's just things we can't take forward. And keep that in mind, that because the universe is very intentional, this is the support we need to ensure that we don't repeat patterns. We don't repeat karma. We don't move forward into something new and then unconsciously start doing something that we thought we let go of. So if you can make the most of this review period and really take ownership over yourself, your choices, what you've learned, your behavior, your actions, all these things that have created your life experiences, the more you take ownership over it, the more you're stepping into your power. The more you're fully owning who you are and understanding how much you've grown, shifted, and healed, how much you've changed. And then it's going to feel like these new endeavors and these new energies are going to feel even more clear and lighter as we go forward. So remember to detach when needed, be objective, be able to honor any of the feelings or emotions that are coming up. Do so with kindness for yourself, knowing that you did the best you could when you were in certain experiences or moving through certain life events. Be very accepting of yourself, be very honoring of it, and understand that the universe has multiple solutions, multiple miracles, multiple ways that things can come through for you, especially if there is something that was disappointing. For some reason, I'm hearing that word. And understand that you're elevating your energy. This is the whole leveling up thing. And that whatever perhaps was disappointing, like it sunk your energy, it just was really hard to move through, really challenging at times. I feel like the universe is going to help flush that away, move that out, and it's going to give you a resurgence of hope, inspiration, motivation of what's possible, of what you can do next. And a reminder that we're designed to keep moving forward. The energies are meant to keep moving us forward so that we can wipe the slate clean, so to speak, and begin again with new intentions or higher intentions of what we want next. So all in all, we know that things are in a beautiful order, and of course, divine timing is at play. So just go easy on yourself as needed. Be kind to the former versions of yourself that were doing the best they could, that were really operating from a different energy, and know that you have so much support going forward that you're going to feel that rising, especially as we move into February. So as always, I hope this has been beneficial and that at least one message resonated with you or helped you, as well as to understand that nothing is wrong, nothing is personal, and that we are made to keep growing with these very dynamic energies. Thank you so much for joining me. This podcast happens every Monday and Wednesday, and then every Friday I have videos for you on YouTube discussing more specific astrology topics. I look forward to connecting with you again soon. Please check out more at my website, mollymccord.online, where you'll find my latest astrology programs, courses, and offerings, as well as support for building and developing your online business. It is always a joy to connect with you. Wishing you a beautiful day ahead, and I hope to see you back here soon.